Assalamu alaikum, hello, and welcome to another episode of It's All Relative. Thank you so much for joining us once again. We are here in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, and I am joined on the show by one of the country's or continent's most influential women. She is the head of marketing at METL. She's also an author and a motivational speaker with the goal to empower women in their professional and personal lives. You might have already guessed it. I am with Sister Fatima Dewji, who is on a mission to help us all live life on our own terms. Sister Fatima, thank you so much for joining us today.
And thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be on your show. I've watched a few of your episodes, and I have to say that I'm very inspired by the work you do.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, so let's get started. I want to start starting from your educational days.
Okay.
So maybe post secondary school, like starting from university.
Okay.
And I want to focus on what happened after in your journey with METL.
Okay. So I graduated from Georgetown University in 2010. I graduated with a degree in finance and management.
Okay.
And I came back to Dar, and I had taken a summer to study Arabic in Egypt. And because we were, Georgetown is known for its School of Foreign Service. So, we had a lot of speakers there, and I was becoming very interested in Middle Eastern studies. So I came back and I said, you know what, this whole, finance is not going to really get me excited. I'm going to switch careers. Okay. And I'd already applied to Oxford, I already got in, and I wanted to go and study Middle Eastern studies. So I came back and I started working in the finance department at the East Coast Oils division. And I remember it was just something that I just did not enjoy at all. Okay. I was not cut out for it. I was miserable, to say the least.
Wow.
And yeah, I just said to myself that, look, I can't keep doing this. And so anyways, I think that one thing that the way that we've been raised is, even if you don't like it, you have to, if you make a commitment, you have to continue doing it.
Yeah, just persevere.
Right?
Yeah.
So I kept doing it. And what I learned is that I started taking interest in other aspects, right? So while I was handling finance, I started studying the production line. I started studying the sales part of it. I started studying, just some market trends and consumer behavior. And I realized that we were all about pushing products into the market, right? And basically there was no pull from the end consumer. There was no pull because there was no marketing, okay?
Right, okay.
And while while you're looking at multinationals who are marketing at that time, a lot of homegrown companies didn't believe in it. So, I said to myself, okay, like, I can do this, but let me also start thinking of ways to market. I remember I took a small office and I was sharing it with a few people, and single-handedly I said, let me just set up a marketing division. I had one designer at that time.
Right.
And just slowly I built the division because I started to realize that how fundamental marketing was to just give your brand a personality, to just, sort of have the consumer pick you over your competitors. Absolutely. Right? Yeah. And so, yeah, I guess I got so into it that I forgot about my Middle Eastern studies, and I decided to stay back. And since then, we've grown, as a team, and we've grown as a brand,
Within METL.
Within METL, yes. And then, I guess a few years later, it was maybe 2 or 3 years after I was, I was doing marketing, but there was no fulfillment in my life. I wasn't happy, and I'm the type of girl, I think that, the happiness that I was looking for didn't really come from going on a holiday or being with my friends. It was just, there was just this void in my life, and I remember, because I'd taken a management course, and I remember there was a professor, his name's Professor Beast, and he walked into the class. It was our first management class. And he said, hey guys, do you guys want to know how to be successful and happy? Yeah. And so, we're all sitting there, okay, we're scrambling for our pens, and we're okay, we're going to learn how to be successful, And he said, in order to be successful and happy, you have to find a purpose that is greater and higher than yourself and make a difference in the lives of others. And so I guess I just realized that I'm so blessed and I was so lucky because I come from a family where, you know, I was provided so many opportunities. I played golf competitively, you know, and it's costly sport.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
know. And so I guess I realized that, look, it's not all about me. I have to do something to sort of, it's not even give back, but rather to provide value, you know, for other
value,
people,
absolutely.
right?
Yep.
And so, yeah, I started an empowerment show, and what I would do is I would call women into, you know, because I sort of realized that I was one of the women that was lucky, and this wasn't a phenomenon that was like in our community or in the country. It's an international phenomenon that women are suffering, or that we have it harder, that we face challenges, but we're also resilient and we're strong, and you know, we are able to do so much. And so I said, okay, I'm going to put women in the spotlight to sort of inspire others with their stories. And that's how my empowerment forum started.
So this is in addition to your corporate life. So you've got your marketing role as head of marketing at METL, and then this is what you do, because I know you have a lot of passion projects that you do. So I'm guessing this is one of them. What else on top of this do you do?
So it started as a women empowerment sort of initiative, and then it went to, I started speaking at different schools, and then I realized that a lot of people, as my social media grew and my following grew, I realized that people were very interested in terms of in how to get business tips and marketing tips, you know, and how to be successful in that area. So I started providing seminars and workshops on that, on public speaking, and so I started doing a lot of mentorship. And then I wrote my book because I thought, you know, and my book is not a book on marketing alone. It's a story. I tell stories and give lessons on the journey I've been through, and how basically, you know, the challenges I've met and the failures I've had, whether it's with business or in my life. And, you know, how you have to sort of move past that and look past that and just keep going, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it makes sense. It's so interesting. But with that in mind, obviously, you know, you've got your career side of things going. You've got so much happening outside the office, I guess, for lack of a better phrase. I'm keen to know what your day looks like, because there's only so you clearly you wear many hats. So what does a typical day look like for you? I'm sure it's an early start and a late finish.
Yeah. So basically, it's I wake up at around 6:30. You know, I'm out of the house by 7:15. I get to work. You know, I'll start checking my emails, then I'll have some meetings. And because I'm in marketing, my work entails me heading to the market, actually doing the market research.
Okay, interesting.
I'm a very inquisitive person when it comes to things like that, so I want to know firsthand what's going on with my products. So either I'll go into the market, or I'll meet people, or I'll start you know, sit with my team, create a campaign. I'm very interested in the branding aspect of things as well. So, you know, mind you, even when we came up with the Mo brand, it's my team and I had to come up with it, because basically we were at a time where nobody knew it was all these sub-brands were part of one whole brand, right? And so people were drinking our water and having our wheat flour and like our oil, and you know, they didn't know it was all part of one company. And METL is usually, you know, mispronounced metal. You know, it's not something that, you know, and it's not a brand name, it's a company name, you know. And so, I just slowly realized that, you know, I have to come up with a brand. Came up with a brand, we launched the brand, then we came up with a brand tagline. Because you see, when you study marketing, or you understand, rather, not study, but when you understand marketing, you realize it's not about you, it's about the consumer. It's about adding value to the consumer. And so our products touch the lives of people from the moment they wake up to the moment they go to sleep, right? Because we're basically have 150 different products, you know, with various SKUs. And so, So I do that. Sorry, deterring from that.
No,
I
no,
just
that's
got so
okay, that's
interested
okay.
in my marketing.
No, no, you're very passionate about it, clearly.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah.
And then at around 5, I go work out. I run every single day
Okay.
for about 7 kilometers.
Okay.
I go run with my dog by the beach.
Right. Nice.
And I mix it up. I do running. I do kickboxing. I do high intensity training.
Right.
It's very important exercise
Absolutely.
to my daily
Yeah.
life. Sometimes I'll go play golf, not so much these days because I think
Yeah.
the time is scarce.
Yeah.
But then I come back, then I might have a few meetings here and there, but then I start focusing more on my passion project and the work
I see.
that
So
I
that's
do.
kind of towards the evening, night.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
it's early start, very late nights. But I think one thing I have to say, and this is, I give a lot of advice to people,
Right.
and something that I've learned is that it's good to keep moving, but it's also important to slow down. It's important
Right.
to have a sense of awareness about what's going on in your life, what you're doing, reflection, and these are important things that now I've started to sort of include in my life. It's not just go, go, go.
Yeah.
Once in a while, sit back, reflect. Where are you going? What are you doing? Why are you doing what you're doing? Don't
Right.
lose
Right.
lose sight of these things.
Is that your moment of switching off, or your me time?
Okay, so one of the issues I have is my brain doesn't slow down. I'm like, it's crazy. It's funny because I have a lot of people coming to me and telling me, how do I get my brain to just
Shut off for a second. Yeah.
No, they
Or-
want to know, how do you keep going, or how
Oh,
do
the
I
other
get
way, yeah.
things started,
Right.
And I have the problem because I want to do so many things, but we all have a limited
Right.
amount of time in
Oh,
a day,
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
And so, but again, it's also very important to sort of slow down sometimes and just take the time to just breathe, enjoy
Yeah.
life, be grateful,
Right.
things like this. These are important things that now I'm starting to include in my life, and I think I see a bigger change in just the way I am.
But what are those? Like, how do you switch? Is it travel? Is it playing golf? Is it
So-
what is that me time when you can reflect on all these things?
Okay, so when I go running, that's my me time.
Interesting.
Okay,
Good.
I turn off my phone, and I run, and there's something about the sea that calms me down.
Absolutely.
And we're lucky because I live by the sea.
Absolutely.
So then I have my cliff, and I just sit there, and then I remember that, there are times when the day has been rough, or I've been through something, and I just sit there
Yeah.
and I calm down and I reflect, and I just start counting all the things I'm grateful for. And I know it
Absolutely.
sounds cliche, but I do that because you become conscious of your day and your time.
Right. Just
you know?
self-awareness.
Yeah. I hang out with my friends, not as much as I'd like to, because if
Yeah.
you want to get to certain places, there's certain things you have
Oh,
to
for
give
sure.
up.
You have to sacrifice. Yeah, absolutely.
The Saturday nights, Sunday nights,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
you
yeah,
have
yeah,
to,
yeah.
where you want to go out, but you
Absolutely.
can't.
Yep.
So yeah,
Good.
that's what I
good.
do.
Well, in addition to that, since we're getting a bit personal now.
Right.
As I was preparing for this episode,
Right.
I did a bit of reading, and I noticed there was a part where you had mentioned that things weren't really going your way.
Right.
I guess in school, or up until the age of 15, things weren't going the direction you wanted them to go in, and something might have triggered at that point. Can you walk us through that? What was that scenario like, and what triggered you to change courses,
Right.
and bring you to where you are today?
So growing up, I was always told I was an average student. I was always told I was an average person, and this is where I believe that self-belief and self-love is so important, because you always have people telling you, the naysayers, people telling you you're not good enough, you're not going to get to where you want to. And I'd heard it for so long, and I remember I was sitting in an assembly, and my friends were going up to get their honor roll, and I was like, what, why am I not up there, and what's wrong with me? And I can't tell you exactly what happened, because I really don't know, but I think part of genetics, I guess, because I come from a family that's just very, we're go-getters, and part of just the idea that I always believe that you can do whatever you put your mind to, up to today. I never studied marketing. I studied finance and management.
Right.
And this is something I talk about in my book, that you can learn whatever you want. We have the internet now. We have everything at our fingertips.
Absolutely.
You can learn whatever you want to learn,
Absolutely.
you know?
Yeah.
And so I guess something flipped, and I just said to myself that I don't want to be this person anymore. I want to do the best that I know I can do, and that is much better than what I was doing.
Right.
And so, yeah, things changed.
Things just changed from there.
And they changed, and you know, despite what people think, and I really want to emphasize this, is that people see me and they see these titles, right? You mentioned, you know, that I'm an author, you know, I'm a marketing director, I'm all these things, but they don't understand that there's a process behind everything. You know, I deal with FMCG products, so I'm gonna tell you that, you know, if you're drinking a soda, you don't know, I know the process it went through to get to you, right? Whether, you know, you're watching a movie or whatever you're doing, or a person that you admire, you don't know what it took for them to get to where they are.
Absolutely.
And you know, I went through that hurdle. In the last 2 years, I've gone through one episode of pain after another. Right. And you know, people look at me and they see this, okay, oh my gosh, this girl has it all together. She's got everything going for her. But I feel that, you know, authenticity in this day is important. And no, there are days I don't have it all together. I've gone through a lot in 2 years, but for some reason, I just kept moving.
Absolutely. And I won't let you off the hook. We will go deeper into your pain, I guess. But clearly you have a very a stellar academic background, a stellar corporate background, a stellar family reputation, and corporate life. Do you think it's necessary to have these platforms? Because I'm sure there might be people out there who don't have these platforms, who don't have the ability to have the education that you did, or the work experience, you know, in the beginning, where you started off, and the family and financial backing or background as well. What message do you have for those people? You know, is there hope for them? Can they make it without these luxuries per se?
Of course. I think that an education, look, the educational system for me, it's not what you learn in school. I think it's getting through school. It's the process of getting through school, right? Yeah. I think that says a lot about you as a human being, that you can get through a system and not just give up in the middle, right? Again, it's about the process, right, of things. As for my family background, you know, we grew up very military style, kind of. You know, my dad is a very strict person.
He's a disciplinarian.
Very disciplined. Wow. I remember the time, you know, I grew up playing golf. I was playing golf at the age of 6, and I remember I went to him and I'm like, I'm a girl. What are you doing to me? And he's like, I don't care. Like, he was like, I don't care if you're a girl. You got to do it. You know. Wow. And at that time I was miserable because my life was go to school, come back, go play golf, come back, do my homework, come back, and then at night we had a little net at that time, and I just hit 200 balls every single night just to practice my swing, right? And it was tough. I had no time to myself. I was constantly, you know, it was exhausting. You know, you have madrasa, you have school, you have like so many things going on at the same time. But no, I don't think these things are important. I think that you just have to have it in you to want to be or get to somewhere. Now, I don't care if your goal is just to be happy. You know, if that's your goal, stop complaining. Okay, if you just want to be a 9-to-5 person and you're happy taking 1 or 2 holidays a year, do you,
Absolutely.
right? But if you really want to get somewhere where or if your goal is to get to a certain position in your life or to, like, you know, be the best, right? You got to give up certain things.
Absolutely.
I took my sabbatical last year. I went to Lebanon for 2 months to study Arabic, and this was after 2.5 years of not leaving the country because I was just working, you know. And during my sabbatical, I studied Arabic and I finished my book, writing my book. So, you know, something's got to give.
Well, yeah, no, I completely agree. For many women, maybe more so in this side of the world, but I'm sure it exists all over the world, their life is very, I guess I can say, structured. They'll go to school for the sake of having an education. But then after that, it's kind of, okay, well, settle down, get married. Well, I guess get married first, settle down, and raise a family.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how their life goes. Now, I'm not saying there's something wrong with that, but clearly you didn't, or something about that structure didn't agree with you, or you didn't agree with.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that? What was it why didn't you go that way?
I did. I did go that way.
Okay.
I graduated from university. I started working. I got married.
Okay.
I went through a lot of pain because I went through a very horrible divorce that I think has changed me in the best of ways, because I just realized so much through that pain.
Right.
And yes, my life has not, on TV, on everything, seems very flowery, right?
Very well put together, yeah.
Very well put together. But, I did go through that route, and not because I had to, but because I did find someone that I thought I could spend the rest of my life with. Didn't work out. But I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just think it's unfortunate, because I think that parents, right? They don't, maybe so more so on this side of the world, they don't, they look down on the girls. Okay, it's
interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So I read a study. Sheryl Sandberg, the CEO of Facebook, she talks a lot about this, and she says that there was a study that was done where when a girl is speaking up when they're younger, you tell her she's bossy, but when it's a boy, he holds leadership qualities, right?
Interesting.
And so it's the way that you speak to your child when they're young. It's the way that you sort of, the empowerment, or rather disempowerment, of your children, and it can go both ways. It's for the boys and the girls as well. It's the guys, you have to become successful so you can fend for your family.
Right.
It's the same pressure. And the girls, it's like, okay, you're gonna have an education, but what does it matter? You're gonna get married, someone's gonna take care of you, right?
So it's a culture thing.
It is
I guess.
Culture thing.
Yeah.
It's a culture thing, but the more that I read and the more that I see, I think it's just, I honestly do believe maybe because it's highlighted more here, but I think it's really an international phenomenon. This whole idea that if you're a girl, this is sort of your life. And if you're a guy, then you have to have a family, take care of your wife and whatever. I think that I was lucky, because I grew up with 4 brothers. I grew up in a family where my dad was all about education. He was he got us into golf, and playing a sport when you're young does a lot for you. Teaches you mental toughness, teaches you to be a team player, teaches you to be a good loser. These are these are all fundamental things that will take you a long way. Resilience, just so many things that you learn that then shape who you are.
Absolutely. Your brother, Mo Dewji, the infamous Mo Dewji. You mentioned, you grew up with 4 brothers, him obviously being one of them. Clearly, he, if not the whole family, is a household name in this country, and maybe even in the continent. Briefly, can you tell me the role they or he has played in shaping you to be who you are today?
I think that when you come from a wealthy family, as they say, I think that a lot of times people assume you have life easy. People assume that, it's, especially in this generation, it's the father does the work, and then it's the kids kind of just like benefit from the money, right? In my family, it's not like that.
Really?
All of us work very hard.
Okay.
I have 4 brothers. 3 of them are in the company. We all work extremely hard. We wake up very early. We're constantly, hustling, as I like to say. And watching that, I think that it gives you momentum and gives you. Mama also is not someone who just is in the business. He does a lot of philanthropy. He believes in making a change, wherever. And I think that I've learned these things from him, and I've learned that to get to where you want to be, he wakes up 5:30 in the morning, man. Goes to bed late at night. He works extremely hard. All these things. When you watch it happening in front of you, you learn from it, right?
Yeah, you feed off of that
Yeah,
energy,
you feed
I
off
guess.
that energy, yeah.
Is there anything that you wanna add? Something that I may not have asked you, or that you want that could benefit our audience?
I think that one of the biggest things, and I talk a lot about this in my book because I firmly believe in it. And people tell me, what is success, right? How do you become successful? And I think that first of all, the magic of success rather is that when you believe in yourself and you value yourself,
right.
And you value who you are, but then it's about the burst of magic happens when you understand that it's not all about you, that it's about something bigger than you.
Right.
Like I said, in the last 2 years, I went through a horrible divorce. I went through my brother's kidnapping, and just a few months ago, I lost my best friend to cancer.
Wow.
Things people don't know, right?
Of course, yeah.
But it's been horrible. But I think that if it wasn't for the fact that I have a purpose that is bigger than just myself,
right.
I would have crumbled. Also, whatever happens in your life, whether it's good or it's bad, it's all a teaching moment.
It's all teachable.
Learn
absolutely.
from it, grow from it. I know it's not at that time. I remember when my brother got kidnapped. It was, you couldn't be positive at that. There was nothing to be positive about. But I guess when you look at pain with hindsight, always try to think of how has it changed you? What have you learned from it? And what can you take away from it?
Right.
I think that's just
Excellent. No, I am so grateful that you shed some light on the tough times as well. I know it's not easy to speak about these things, and I'm appreciative that you've done that, and all everything else that you shared. I'm sure it adds a lot of value to those who are watching, and I'm very grateful that you took the time to come on the show and share your story with us. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. If you want to reach out to Sister Fatima, I will be putting her contact information at the bottom of your screen. Feel free to reach out to her. If there's anything that you'd like to know from her or learn from her, she'll be more than happy to respond and communicate with you. Once again, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and inshallah, I will see you on the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.